Amanda here from Scrimpingmommy.co.uk. I'm just coming today to talk to you about copyright. I was watching a really lovely creator the other day, quite upset about copyright and about the use of stamps when creating her junk journals, and she had unwittingly been using them and going against various angel policies of various companies. And when she looked into it, she found that a lot of stamp companies have really harsh angel policies, and if you are creating to sell, you need to be really careful. Now, if you're a crafter who makes cards and just sends them out, sends them to friends, makes things for yourself, makes things to gift to people for the birthdays, things like that, it doesn't matter, okay? You don't need to do anything, you don't need to worry about anything. This only applies if you are making things to sell. Okay, so if you make albums to sell, or cards to sell, or 3D projects, perhaps you sell them on Etsy, perhaps you sell them on eBay, perhaps you do craft fairs, you need to be mindful of the angel policy. And angel policies exist for every single thing that you use in your crafting. All papers, all stamps, any kind of image that you purchase, just because you've purchased that image, it doesn't belong to you. It still belongs to the person who created the image. And that is the nature of copyright, and it's quite bizarre, because you think, well, I've bought that, it's mine, I'll do what I want with it. And if you are creating for your own purpose, you absolutely can. But if you are then going on to sell, you need to be careful. And the reason being that if you're selling, in essence, you're selling that image. So in essence, you're stamping these, you're selling them. So that would negate that person then having to buy this stamp set. So that is the whole reason why companies have angel policies, okay? And it's the whole reason why you cannot ever stamp images and then sell those, just, you know, cut them out and sell them. It is absolutely not allowed. Now, as for making projects and selling them, as I say, perhaps on your craft fairs, perhaps you make to sell in excuse me, groups on Facebook or Etsy, wherever, all you need to do to adhere to the Stampin' Up Angel policy, because they welcome people, and this document is available online. All you need to do is type in Stampin' Up Angel policy. It says here, Stampin' Up welcomes artists who like to use our copyright images in their own handmade craft work and other projects that they produce to sell. Therefore, we give permission in the form of a limited license to use any Stampin' Up images for the purpose of creating items for sale under the following criteria. So there are a few conditions, but they're pretty lenient, okay? The main thing is that things need to be clearly marked with a Stampin' Up copyright symbol. Now, as long as I've been a demonstrator, there's always been at least one stamp set in the Stampin' Up catalogue that holds this copyright, so that people that do make things to sell have it to hand, okay? And it is in this one called Crafting Forever. And here it is, and it's just a tiny little thing, so it's not going to infringe on your make. It's a tiny little stamp, and if you stamp that somewhere on your project, on the bottom of a box or the back of a card, something, excuse me, something like that, then you are within the law then. And it's only tiny, it's not going to infringe on your design, so long as it's there somewhere, you're fine, okay? And some people might think, well, why do I have to go and buy that stamp set just to get that copyright? Well, you know, if you're making to sell, it's a wise business move, isn't it? To make sure that you are not going against any laws, basically. And this is an awesome stamp set anyway. So I always make sure that I have one in my collection. There are other ones out there, second-hand as well, that have been available previously if you hunt on eBay, if you don't want to pay full price. I don't think that's an expensive set anyway. So if you look at this document online, what it basically says is that you can, you know, there's not much limit, so long as you put that little Stampin' Up copyright symbol somewhere on that project, you will be fine. Now what you're not allowed to do is you're not allowed to stamp a load of images, cut them out and sell them, flog them on eBay, whatever. That is just totally and utterly ridiculous. And the reason being that then that negates the necessity for anybody to come and purchase the stamp set for themselves. And that is the main reason why all stamping companies and paper companies have angel policies. You know, because if you're giving things out for free, people aren't going to go and buy their products. You know, so you're doing them it's kind of like doing them a disservice. But when you're creating things to sell, you're creating a finished project. That's fine, so long as it's marked. Okay. So it says there number 2. Okay. Just mark them with the copyright thing. There's number 3 is about only selling 150 total individual items per calendar year of printed projects that were digitally created containing Stampin' Up! Images. That's digitally. Okay, so that's not handmade. If you're handmade things, there's no limit. Okay. There it says it there. There are no quantity limits for sale. Handmade craft works that abide by the restrictions as stated in the policy. So there you go. But there's a limit if you do it digitally. You can sell them where you want, it says there. Okay. But you must make it clear that the items are handmade and created by you and not make claims that they are made by Stampin' Up. Okay, basically. You can't use Stampin' Up! Images for logos. So you can't add that to your business card and have it as your logo. That's not allowed. Okay. And then it's saying here about digitally created prints, items for sale, are responsible for complying with any state and local business and tax regulations. You've got to assume liability for suitability of your work and agree to indemnify Stampin' Up! From disputes arising from their work. So basically, your work is your work. So Stampin' Up! Have no liability. It's nothing to do with them. So there you go, that's it basically. So in a nutshell, so long as you have one of the little copyright symbols, you're good to go. Now what you can't do is you can't start stamping these and scanning them into your computer and digitally altering them to make things like backgrounds for junk journals, things like that. That's not allowed. But what you could do is you can create your junk journal if that's what you're into, and you can use the stamps on the top to decorate, and then just stamp that tiny little symbol on the back of your journal somewhere and you're covered if you wanted to sell it. Remember, this is only if you're wanting to sell, okay? And it is common. I do urge you to check angel policies for every single thing that you buy. There are some companies that are so stringent you can't even give it as a birthday card if you use their products. It really is a bit of a minefield, so do check and do be mindful of the companies that you buy from. Stampin' Up! Is a very, very, very kind company, and as they say, they welcome artists to use their products. All you've got to do is, if you're selling them, use a little copyright symbol. That really is as much as complicated as it gets. All right, so I just wanted to come and share that with you because I think that our angel policy is really, really, really kind and really favourable for those of you that do want to sell. And that is one reason why a lot of people do join Stampin' Up!, because they can create their items to sell comfortably in the knowledge that they've got their little doofers and they're well within the law. And then everything that they make then, they're getting the items at a discount, so they're creating for their business is somewhat cheaper. So there you go. Don't forget, you can see this document online. Just type in Stampin' Up! Angel Policy. Thanks for watching. I hope that helps. It is something we all do need to be mindful of. Copyright is a serious issue. So please do be careful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.